Hello, and welcome back to the Dirndl Journal. My name is Nina, and I'm currently preparing to do the Cultural Representative Program for Disney in Walt Disney World in Florida for Germany. And today I would like to explain you a little bit more about what the Cultural Representative Program is, how it works, and also what that means for me, where I will be working, and what I will be doing. I want to do a little role reveal because they're different roles that you can do. So let's get into it, but hang on. I did say last time that I wanted to do this video in a dirndl, didn't I? Hang on. So here I am, back in my dirndl. So a dirndl, essentially, if you don't know, sort of a traditional folkloristic German folk dress that is usually worn at events like the Oktoberfest, for example. That's probably your first association when you see me in this dress. It's probably more like an alpine dress than a German dress, because I believe people also wear variations of this in probably Austria, the north of Italy, so basically the region of the Alps. Not so much, or it's not at all worn in more northern parts of Germany, like the coastal regions where I'm from. But essentially, why I'm wearing this dress today, and why I've also called my channel the Dirndl Journal, is because this will be my costume. This will be what I will be wearing for work while I work in the parks, in the Germany pavilion in Epcot. It's not quite, this is my private dress, obviously. I've lived in Munich for a few years, some 10, 15 years ago. What I will be wearing there is, of course, the Disney version, which means it's like until here. Basically, it's closed until here. This, I think, would not work in Disney World. So yeah, what is the Disney Cultural Representative Program? Basically, you have to understand what is Walt Disney World and what makes it different from all the other Disney parks. I've heard a lot of times when I was telling my friends, my family, I would be moving to Disney World. Many people were saying, so to Paris. And I was saying, no, Disney World is not in Paris. Disney World is only in Orlando, Florida. There are many Disneylands, there are Disney resorts, but there's only one Disney World that's in Florida, and that is because it is by far the biggest area. It consists of 4 parks. Magic Kingdom, which is the park that you initially will think of if you think of any Disney park. It has the castle, it has Space Mountain, it has Fantasyland, it has Main Street USA, it has everything you immediately think of when you think Disneyland or Disney World. That is Magic Kingdom. Then it has Hollywood Studios, which transformed a lot in the past few years. It used to be more about like making films and Hollywood, and it has an area called Sunset Boulevard. But recently it transformed to host more of the franchises and IPs of Disney that are not the classic Disney movies. For example, Star Wars. It has a massive Star Wars land called Galaxy's Edge, and it has Toy Story Land as well. So you will find these sort of themes in Hollywood Studios. There's Animal Kingdom, which is essentially a very upscale zoo. So there's a lot of animals, but also rides, attractions. The whole park is made up to look like different areas of the world: Africa, Southeast Asia. Pandora is there as well from Avatar. And last but not least, Epcot. Epcot is it actually is an acronym that stands for Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And that is pretty much exactly what Walt Disney himself intended this park to be like his dream and his idea of how people could live together in a community that is built on technological advancement, on communication, on science, on understanding the world, on sustainability as well, and on intercultural collaboration, communication, and understanding. And that is why in Epcot, one of the big areas is World Showcase. And World Showcase is essentially, you can imagine it to be like an eternal World Expo, where there is 11 countries of the world represented in permanent pavilions, where essentially all the countries are a little bit built like you get a snapshot of the country, and you can walk into this country. You can see smaller versions of landmark icons from those countries, like the Eiffel Tower in Paris, for example, or the St. Mark's Square in Venice, in the Italy pavilion, and also a little German village, because Germany is one of those countries. Essentially, the countries are Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy. Then there's the US, which is not an international country, but it's still represented, of course, in the center of it all. Duh. And then I believe it continues with Japan, Morocco, France, the UK, and Canada. And now, what the cultural representative program is, it is that in all of these pavilions, everybody who works there and who you will meet there if you go there is from those countries and speaks that language, or those languages, if there are multiple languages. And the idea of that is that, of course, when you visit these pavilions, your experience of this country and this culture is supposed to be, there's a cat. Hi, this is my cat. Is supposed to be as authentic as possible. That's why they have only people from those countries working there. So yeah, essentially what the cultural representative program is if you are from one of those 10 countries, 11 minus the US, then you can apply to work there for a year in this pavilion in the Epcot theme park of Walt Disney World. And you can apply through the Disney Careers page, just as you would apply to any other job. And to be very honest, Germany, I believe they're always looking for. So basically, you apply. If you get accepted, you will get a temporary cultural exchange visa for the US. It's called a Q1 visa, that is valid for a year. And you will be moving to Walt Disney World. You will be staying on the Disney campus. It's called Flamingo Crossings Village. And it is like, it's probably like a college campus a little bit. That's how I imagine it. It has, I don't know how many apartments. It has a pool. It has a community hall. It has a training center. It has apparently everything. I don't know. I've just seen videos and I've heard people talk about it. I will live in a shared apartment with 3 other people, and I will be working in the Disney park in a Dirndl. And if you work for the cultural representative program, you get the choice between usually 3 roles. One is attractions, and that is not relevant for Germany because the Germany pavilion does not have an attraction. There are other countries that have rides, like Norway has the Frozen ride, Frozen Ever After, or France has the Ratatouille ride. And other countries have shows. And then basically, if you work in attractions, you'll be responsible for ushering guests in, seating guests, giving them instructions, maybe telling them a little bit of a backstory, depending what the ride requires, and you're responsible for their safety, etc., etc. But Germany doesn't have a ride. So for Germany, you can only choose between 2 roles. That one is food and beverage, and the other is merchandise. And food and beverage is essentially you work in food and beverage, you sell food and beverages to guests, and you also eventually, once you've done that a little bit at the snack carts or the quick service restaurant, then you can move up to the main table service restaurant. It's called Beer Garden. It's a buffet restaurant that is made to look like a German village square at night, and there's Oktoberfest every day. So you will be serving, since it's a buffet, you will be serving drinks mainly. And merchandise is essentially retail. It's all the shops that are in the Germany pavilion that sell merchandise of any kind, not just Disney, but also other traditional things from Germany, as well as some food kiosk locations. They're all grouped in the merchandise category, and that is a different role that you can do. And I am going to be working in merchandise. And that is also, as I said in the last video, that was also my role, was one of the reasons why I wanted to do these videos and why I wanted to post them online, because all the videos I found, really all of them, and I'm not saying I found all of them, all the videos that exist. And I'm also not on TikTok, so I don't know what's going on there. But on YouTube, all the videos I've seen were from people who are working in food and beverage. I haven't found a single person working in merchandise. And I personally, as a person working who was going to work in merchandise, I was really missing this perspective. And I was eager to learn more about what that is like. And actually, fun fact, by now I have found a gal who is doing videos such as mine, from Germany, who is doing merchandise. She only started posting after I decided to do all of this. And that's really exciting because we will very likely be working together one way or the other. Um, because that's one of the things, merchandise is a bit smaller. There's fewer people working in merchandise, there's more people working in food and beverage. And that's why, rumor has it, from what I looked up, because of course I informed myself and when I wanted to make my decision, because I wasn't quite sure, because both roles seem extremely exciting and have their pros and cons probably as well. So I wanted to better understand what I was getting into and what would be the better choice for myself. Given also my background, I'm a marketer. I've worked in marketing for more than 10 years. So that was already, a way for me to think, okay, maybe merchandising is better. Maybe I'm good at selling stuff and maybe I should do more of that. Um, I have never waited tables. I have never served drinks. So it's not necessarily that I have a lot of experience in food and beverage. So that was one. But then also I read that, in merchandise there's a bit of a more tight knit community because there's fewer people, and that is always something that I really really like and enjoy. And then also, to be honest, I'm a foodie. I'm a huge foodie. I love reading about food. I love talking about food. I love eating food. I could talk about and hear and read and see food all day, every day, for better or worse. Um, and now this might sound counterintuitive. Why then merchandise is the perfect role for me and not food and beverage? But hear me out here. There is one of the merchandising locations in Germany is called Karamellküche. It is a store, sponsored by the Werther's company, or as we call it in Germany, Werther's, the caramel company. And they sell, they have a bakery case. They sell caramel treats of all kinds, cupcakes, cookies, butter bars, caramel dipped apples, and also caramel corn, caramel popcorn, which is one of one of the best sellers and one of the most iconic snacks that you can get, not just in the Germany pavilion, but in all of the World Showcase and maybe all of Disney World. So thinking about that, I was thinking, if I want to have sort of to do with Disney food, if I want to talk to the guests about food and give them recommendations, I'm actually thinking I will have way more chance to do that than I will have, again, the restaurant, the main restaurant, the table service restaurant is a buffet. I actually think, ironically, at least in the Germany pavilion, I don't know if this is true for the others as well, but at least in the Germany pavilion, I think ironically, if you are very interested in the food and want to make that part of your work life, maybe you're better off in merchandise than you are in food and beverage. Also, again, the beer garden restaurant is made to look like a German village at night. It is always dark, it has no windows, and there's Oktoberfest every day. So you will need nerves, I think, to work in that area for hours and hours and hours, day after day after day, with the music, with the noise. And I wasn't quite 100% sure that that was for me. So those are some of the main reasons why I decided to choose merchandise. One of the main reasons why people tend to rather go to food and beverage is also the money, because you will be paid, and this is not a secret. I can talk about this. This is literally in the job description, in the job ad. If you look it up, this is online. You can find it everywhere. The pay is $17 per hour for everyone. So when you work in food and beverage, once you move up to, essentially how it works, start at the snack carts, you start in the quick service location, and when you do your job well, you can become a server in beer garden. And then your pay will drop. your hourly pay, your fixed pay. I don't know exactly to how much, but of course you will get tips. And the US has this very, very, very crucial tipping culture. I don't know if you've been to the US, you know that basically the minimum of tip you should pay for a decent service is 15%, if not 20 or more. Here in Germany, we customary give like a 10% roughly. In some other countries in Europe, tip you just round up. But in the US, it's a huge part of going anywhere and getting any service at all. So that means that if you work an 8-hour shift and per table you get maybe a $20, $25 tip, depending on how large the party is, you can calculate how much tip you walk away with in a day. And this is a huge draw for some people. In merchandise, that's not the case. You make your $17 per hour, but that's essentially it. And I did think about that, but I very quickly came to the realization that I'm not in this for the money. I work a very well paid marketing job that I gave up for this. If I just wanted to get a bunch of money, I could have just continued doing that. I'm really doing this for the experience. I'm doing this to get out of my comfort zone. I'm doing this to get in touch with a lot of people, meet people from all around the world, and share my culture with them, as cheesy as this sounds, because I am a cultural representative. That's where I got my visa for. That's why Disney hired me to do exactly that. And I'm not in this for the money. If I can make a decent living there, because the US is effing expensive, then that's great. I'm not planning to walk away from this with a bunch of savings from this experience. And this is also like, um, once I kind of realized that that was in my heart what I was feeling, then it was very easy for me to decide for merchandise. Even though, I'm also, part of me is also like, oh, I would have, would have been so fun. Ideally, I would have liked to experience both, to be honest with you, because, I'm always up for making new experiences and learning new stuff and seeing new things. But that's also a benefit of the merchandising job, because there's so much. You work in the merchandising stores, in the retail stores, you sell Disney merchandise, you sell cuckoo clocks, you sell steins for beer, you sell I don't know, you sell glass figurines, and you sell caramel popcorn and caramel apples and wine. So I think it is going to be such a diverse experience, and much more diverse maybe than food and beverage. So yeah, essentially, if I tell people that I will be selling cuckoo clocks in a dirndl, then I kind of mean it as a joke, but it is kind of the truth. It is probably what I will be doing. I will be selling cuckoo clocks in a dirndl and other stuff. I hope that was informative for you. You understand a bit better what I will be doing, and you enjoyed this nice outfit. And yeah, I'm wishing you a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you next time.